In the year 859, in the ancient city of Fez, Morocco, a woman made a decision that would echo through 12 centuries. She had just inherited a fortune. She could have lived in luxury, enjoyed a life of comfort. Instead, she built something that still stands today, something that changed education forever. Her name was Fatima al-Fihri. And this is the story of how one woman's vision created the world's oldest continuously operating university. Welcome to Hikmah Chronicles. Fatima al-Fihri was born in the early 9th century in Qayrawaan, Tunisia. Her father, Muhammad al-Fihri, was a wealthy merchant and a scholar. He believed deeply in education and he made sure both his daughters, Fatima and her sister Maryam, received the same rigorous education as any son would. The family moved to Fez when Fatima was young. Fez was a growing city, a crossroads of trade and knowledge. It was becoming a center of Islamic learning in North Africa. But then, tragedy struck. Fatima's father died, then her husband, then her brother. Within a short time, Fatima and her sister Maryam found themselves wealthy widows. They had inherited their family's entire fortune. Most women in their position would have remarried, would have let male relatives manage their wealth, would have lived quiet, comfortable lives. Fatima and Maryam chose differently. They decided to use their inheritance to build something permanent, something that would benefit their community for generations. Maryam built the Andalusian mosque, one of the largest in Fez. And Fatima? Fatima had an even more ambitious vision. She would build a mosque. But not just any mosque. She would build a mosque with a madrasa, a school, that would become the greatest center of learning in the Islamic West. She would build what we now call the University of Al-Qarawiyyin. 1859, Fatima began construction. She didn't just hire builders and walk away. According to historical accounts, she supervised every detail. She fasted throughout the entire construction period, breaking her fast only when the building was complete. The architecture was breathtaking. Intricate zellige tilework in geometric patterns, carved cedar wood, marble columns, a courtyard with a fountain for ablutions. It was both a spiritual space and a place of learning. But what made it revolutionary wasn't the building, it was what happened inside. Fatima established a madrasa, an educational institution that would teach not just religious subjects but also grammar, rhetoric, logic, medicine, mathematics, astronomy, chemistry, history, and geography. She endowed it with her entire fortune. She ensured it would have funding for teachers, for books, for maintenance. She wanted it to last beyond her lifetime. And here's what's extraordinary. The University of Al-Qarawiyyin has been operating continuously for over 1200 years. Through dynasties, through conquests, through centuries of change. It never closed, not once. That makes it, according to UNESCO and the Guinness Book of World Records, the oldest existing, continually operating, degree-granting educational institution in the world. Not Oxford, not Bologna, not the Sorbonne. A university founded by a Muslim woman in 859. For centuries, Al-Qarawiyyin was one of the leading spiritual and educational centers of the Islamic world. Students came from across North Africa, Al-Andalus, and even from Christian Europe. The curriculum was comprehensive. Students studied Islamic sciences, yes, but also mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, and languages. Some of history's greatest minds studied here. Ibn Khaldun, the father of sociology and historiography, studied at Al-Qarawiyyin. His work on the rise and fall of civilizations is still studied today. Al-Idrisi, the famous geographer and cartographer who created one of the most advanced maps of the medieval world, studied here. Maimonides, the great Jewish philosopher and physician, is believed to have studied here during his time in Fez. Pope Sylvester II, before he became Pope, studied here. He later introduced Arabic numerals to Christian Europe after learning them at Al-Qarawiyyin. The library at Al-Qarawiyyin contains some of the oldest and most precious manuscripts in the Islamic world. Ancient Qurans, scientific treatises, historical documents, some over 1,000 years old. In 2016, a $9 million restoration project was completed. Not to turn it into a museum, to keep it functioning as the living university it has always been. Walk through those doors today and you'll find students studying just as they have for 12 centuries. Think about what Fatima al-Fihri achieved. In a time when few people, men or women, had access to education, she created an institution that democratized learning. In an era when most schools taught only religious subjects, she created a university that taught science, mathematics, medicine, and philosophy alongside theology. She proved that women could be not just scholars, but builders of educational institutions. Not just students, but founders of universities. The concept of the university as we know it today, with degrees, specialized faculties, and a comprehensive curriculum, it's a concept that has roots in institutions like Al-Qarawiyyin. When European universities were founded centuries later, they looked to Islamic educational models. They studied the madrasa system. They learned from institutions like Al-Qarawiyyin. Every time a woman earns a degree, every time a university opens its doors, every time education is seen as a right, not a privilege, Fatima al-Fihri's legacy lives on. Today, when we think of the world's great universities, we think of Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard. But before all of them, there was Al-Qarawiyyin. And before Al-Qarawiyyin was a famous university, it was one woman's vision. Fatima al-Fihri could have lived a comfortable life. Instead, she chose to build something that would outlast her by centuries. She didn't wait for permission. She didn't wait for someone else to do it. She saw what her community needed and she made it happen. That's the power of vision. That's the power of dedication. That's the power of one person deciding to make a difference. Fatima al-Fihri never lived to see the full impact of what she created. She probably never imagined her university would still be teaching students over a millennium later. But that's the thing about legacy. You don't build it for recognition. You build it because it matters. This is Hikmah Chronicles. Every week, we uncover the forgotten stories of Islamic history. Stories of courage, innovation, and vision that shaped our world. Next time, we'll explore the story of Ibn Battuta, the man who traveled 75,000 miles across the medieval world without a map or GPS. If Fatima's story inspired you, hit that subscribe button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And let me know in the comments what woman from history should we cover next. Until next time, keep seeking wisdom, keep building legacy.